Baru and Isagi open up the chapter by continuing an argument about their worth as players. Since Baru is worth twice as much as Isagi, he brags about it. There's only a slight change in his appearance, but it's important, considering how it got there. His teammates, Aiku, Nico, and Jubei, assisted him with the slight transformation within his hair. This does mean that Baru trusts them to a certain degree, at least enough to work with them, especially if it gets him goals. I do enjoy the slight comedic relief before the match, even with Nico calling him Princess Baru instead. Aiku then brings him back to reality, stating that the Ubers will be the one to win this match. Isagi, still, has gained a new resolve through his experiences in Blue Lock, and doesn't shy away from this challenge at all. The manga then cuts the ego and the chairman for Japan's football team in a room. This doesn't really have an important part in the story other than him being a money-hungry old man. But then it cuts back to the match as it was about to begin, and all those in the starting lineup seem to be ready. Isagi calms himself down, knowing what he needs to do. He's already done the necessary training, so he just needs to show off the fruits of his labor here, on the grand stage. His training must have been very beneficial, as he uses his metavision at 100% from the start, which can only mean one thing. He believes he can go all out, at least until the first half is up. KAISER leads them through the midfield with his 1-2 passes with Ness. Even with this, the 5-man midfield of the Ubers is no joke, as they apply constant pressure. Nico steps up to face KAISER, but he seems not worried at all. He passes the ball to the left, and Ness jumps over it, which is smart, considering who he was being marked by. Aiku. The ball then ends up in the possession of Grim, who tells Ness to dash. This caused the 3 defenders to surround Ness, but he was only a decoy. It was basically a similar strategy to that of Karasuno, who used Hinata in the same way throughout their matches. The ball then lands near a darkness, and out from it steps KAISER and Nico. Nico and Isagi have a very similar body structure, so KAISER is able to basically push him off the ball and brush past looking for the next shot. But just, where's Kunigami? KAISER then seems to go for the shot in the open space, but someone appears and snatches the ball from him. So, you're worth 300 million. Guess that makes you their ace. He then cuts off the pass swiftly, and this causes KAISER to scoff. Don Lorenzo, the ace eater, now has the ball, looking to send it forward, as that's where the chapter concludes. There wasn't much action in this chapter, but this is our proper introduction to the ace eater of the Ubers team. I do want to point out one thing though. If Baru is their main source of goals, the next chapter is likely going to begin with a counterattack. And since they only have him at striker, running straight into the center of our team's defense, this means the reason behind Raichi being so important for this match is he would be trying to take on and dethrone the king of the Ubers. They do have similar builds, and Raichi seems to be somewhat of a great match for Baru, especially if he was one of the best 1v1 defenders. If Raichi is able to stop the counterattack in the next chapter, I think Kunigami and Isagi are going to put their training to use. Since KAISER and his attack failed, they are the next reasonable option. But there's only one problem, and that's the stacked defense with Lorenzo, Nico, Aiku, and Jubei. These 4 players all have different strengths that complement each other very well on the pitch. Who knows how strong each of their egos have actually become. Speaking of egos, I think Don Lorenzo will get even stronger as this match goes on. He most likely feeds on the despair of those aces who fail to score for their team. As after he steals the ball from KAISER, he says delicious, as if he's devouring the potential of those goals from the opponent's ace. What makes this great is I think out of anyone, Isagi is the perfect person to overcome Lorenzo by using KAISER and his other teammates, since he isn't technically the ace. Playing in the shadows and manipulating them like puppets until the moment arises for his direct shot to show itself once again. Or maybe he has a different weapon with shooting. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game based on the defense of the two teams, but I could also be wrong. Going back to one of the last panels, KAISER also seems to be quite shocked that the ball was stolen from him. It's as if LORENZO had no presence on the pitch until right in front of him. But this is just something I figured I should mention before I end the video. If you do like Blue Lock content like this on my channel, consider subscribing and liking the video, and even commenting down what you think will happen in the next chapter.